As difficult as it is to say goodbye, there is no better feeling in Football Manager than your first days at a brand new club. We have said goodbye to Qasim Pasha. We have bid adieu to Turkey for one final time. And now the latest chapter in our journey is about to begin. Welcome to Fulham Football Club. And welcome everyone to episode number 52 of Bottom to the Top. I am Mr. Cellophane. I hope you are having a fantastic week so far. We are in the early days and ready to get going as the new manager of Fulham, taking over at Craven Cottage after leaving Qasim Pasha sitting in first place in the Sport Toto Super League and continuing on, getting ready for the end of the league phase of the Europa League. We'll check in and see how things are going with them periodically because I really am curious. I do have a soft spot in my heart for that club and what we were able to do. But we have a new challenge ahead. We are taking on a Fulham team currently sitting in 17th place of the English Premier League on 21 points after 24 matches, just 3 points safe from relegation. And on a run that is, well, far from great, having lost 6 of their last 7, only winning twice since the month of November, and seemingly in a listless position. We need to bring them out of the doldrums. Our ultimate goal is to make them a mid-table side. We're just trying to avoid relegation for this year. We do still have 14 matches remaining on the schedule with which to get that done. We only, right now, do have that one competition to worry about, and that is the league. Getting knocked out of the FA Cup in the third round by Bournemouth. It was actually one of 2 losses to Bournemouth in the same week. The Carabao Cup, Fulham fared much better. They made it to the quarterfinal round before finally meeting their demise against Liverpool. Bit of a mixed bag in the schedule. We're starting things off against a lower half team in Brighton at home before taking on top of the table Newcastle. We do have 2 matches against teams currently in the relegation zone, but that is not till the final 3 weeks of the season when we take on Leicester and Luton back to back. Hopefully, we are not part of that mix at that point. I feel like I already mentioned that we are going to have a big hill to climb. If I haven't, I apologize. But the main reason for that is the talent on our squad. Jadon Sancho is far and away our best player, the 28-year-old winger from Trinidad and Tobago and England is a leading Premier League player. He's made 23 starts in the league, only 2 goals and 7 assists, but that belies some of the other problems that this side has had. But after Sancho, that's where the drop-off occurs. Because if you look at anybody else, Mark Cross is listed as our second best player as far as current ability, at least as rated by our staff at 3.5 stars. I know the stars don't mean end everything. It's not the be-all and end-all, but a 3.5-star player on Fulham Football Club is listed as just a decent Premier League player. So we have one leading player, and then everybody else is decent and below. So a lot of holes to fill with very little time to do it in. So we may have to make do with pretty much what we got. So we need to maximize what we have on the pitch. Now, we are going to be making some changes, obviously, to what they were doing. We're going to be taking what I believe to be a new tactical approach. We're going to be making a change in goal as well. Up until this point, Cristobal Campos has been the primary starting goalkeeper. He's made 21 starts, but he's conceded 39 goals with a 6.46 average rating. He wasn't any better in the FA Cup. He wasn't any better in the Carabao Cup. His only good performances were in the World Cup qualifiers. I think that was the qualifiers. It's 2029. So the CONMEBOL qualifying section, he made 2 starts, 1 reserve appearance, only gave up 2 goals with a 6.9 rating. Honestly, that's not good enough, especially when he's only rated as a decent League One player. So for now, assuming we can't get anyone in before the transfer window slams shut in 4 days, and we haven't had a lot of time to scout, our staff is currently in disarray. We'll get to that in just a minute. So Pierluigi Golini is going to be taking over, at least for now. He's made 2 starts, 5 total appearances in the Premier League, only conceded 4 goals with a 6.82 average rating, has kept 2 clean sheets as well, so he is going to be our guy moving forward. So at least for now, we are primarily going to be running a fairly standard 4-3-3 to take advantage of, well, frankly, what Jadon Sancho does best. We also have Jurgen Strand Larsen, who is a pretty good striker, not spectacular by any stretch of the imagination, but he's decent. And he has a decent backup in Sasha Kalajic. We're okay in the midfield. We're not too bad at center back. Our wingbacks, again, decent. Goalkeeper, we've already talked about. So we're going to be running with a sweeper keeper in the back, inverted wingbacks and a pair of central defensemen, a halfback at the base of the midfield with a box-to-box midfielder and an advanced playmaker. I love the advanced playmaker coming out of the midfield. It's just something that Nick Bottom appears to be known for. 2 wingers in Sancho and the youngster James Adade. I believe he's 20 years old, and Strand Larsen up top. Now, you may notice that there is some red surrounding Sancho and Stelios Andreu at center back. Well, they just picked up injuries in the last week. Not in the friendly that we played. We can talk about the friendly in just a minute. So we are actually going to play our first match against Brighton with a slightly modified tactic. Before I get into that, we are training a secondary tactic. It's kind of a variation. It's kind of a combination, I think, of the 2 other tactics that we're going to be rolling out. It's a variation on the diamond that we played in Turkey. The main difference is taking advantage of the width in the midfield, again, to be able to highlight a player like Jadon Sancho. But since Sancho is not available, we're actually going to be going with the same diamond that we ran as an alternate tactic while we were at Turkey. Because you didn't honestly think I was going to leave everything in Istanbul, did you? And speaking of Istanbul, we are still waiting on work permits for the 5 staff members that were going to be coming over with us. Ibrahim Konuk, our goalkeeping coach, another coach in Nicholas Hausler. Paolo Minafra, our head physio, is still not in the building. Neither is Sehun Kara, our head of sports science, and Koshkin Ozdemir, a recruitment analyst, to add to our staff, which is looking pretty woeful. Yeah, we are missing a lot of guys. 6 coaching vacancies, head performance analyst, another performance analyst that we do not have. We're missing a loan manager. We thought we had signed one, but he decided to go somewhere else. Recruitment analysts, scouts, we're looking for all of them. Also, head physio, head of sports science. We're expecting to come over once they get their work permits from our old job at Qasim Pasha. A couple of sports scientists as well. So a lot of staff positions that still need to be filled. And by the way, yeah, we've got a transfer window closing on January the 31st. We do have 33.25 million euros with which to work. We should probably convert over to British pounds now that we're here in England. I'll consider that for the next episode. And about 30,000 in the wage bill. We did have to shift a little bit of money around because we were overdrawn on our weekly wages. We have some clauses that are available to buy, a couple to sell, but it's really not going to get us a ton of money. We're probably going to hang on to those for just a little bit. We're talking less than like 500,000 euros. Really not worth cashing in right now. So looking at our depth chart based on our primary tactic, not sure how far that 30 plus million is actually going to get us in this January transfer window. I think the plan is going to be just to hold on. We need a new goalkeeper. We need definite help at the right back position. We need some reserves at center back because Jan Bednarik is getting up there. His contract is up at the end of the year. I don't think we are renewing it. He's currently unhappy at the club. He wants more playing time. Patrick Berg is a pretty good overall defensive midfielder, but he's really all we got because if you notice, the depth behind him are the guys who are playing ahead of him. Filippo Ranocchia, he's okay. Alex Iwobi, I personally love him as a player, as an Everton supporter. I was sad when he had to leave for Fulham. I think it was ultimately the best for both parties. We don't need to get into that now here in this YouTube video on our Journeyman save. But Iwobi's also, I think, 34 at this point. We are in January of 2029 after all. Jadon Sancho is pretty much set. James Adade has a ton of potential that he hasn't quite realized. Andres Garcia is the same, but we could probably use a right wing for now. Strand Larson, pretty good. Can we use an upgrade? Probably. But our primary focus right now is to get a result against Brighton at home at Craven Cottage. And here is the squad that hopefully is going to do it. It's going to be Pierluigi Golini in goal. A back four of Jake Batty, Adam Obert, Jan Bednarik, and Brandon Sappi as our right back. Berg at the base of the midfield with Filippo Ranocchia and Alex Iwobi in the midfield. Our captain, Harry Wilson, linking things up in the attacking midfield position to the two strikers up front to lead the way in the final third, Sasha Kalajic and Jurgen Strand Larson. Oh yeah, and by the way, we've entered another situation where the team is against our appointment. 18 of the 24 first-team players that are with the squad right now, not those on loan, of course, yeah, they don't like us. We did have it on a full match just to check things out during our friendlies, so we've just tamped that down a little bit. Berg with the corner kick. First one of the match as Buonote is going to send that clear. Iwobi will track that back, carry it up that left wing side. He can play on the wing, so Iwobi is a very versatile player. Batty in the middle, Berg. He's got Ranocchia, who's going to drive it in, and Meslier is going to redirect that out behind for another Fulham corner. Wilson will deliver this one. Now, if we do need to raise funds to try to improve the team in the short term, Wilson could very well be a perfect candidate to move on. He's older. He makes 130,000 euros per week. And he's worth about 30 million, assuming somebody would absolutely take him. Let's fix our touchline tablet a little bit. Brighton comes into this match in 13th on 30 points. We are in 17th. If the result holds as a draw, we will move 4 points ahead of Leicester. We have picked up the first 3 shots on goal of the match, so those are positive things to take out of this. Other results around the pitch, it looks like Newcastle has won 4-3. Estupinian with the corner for Brighton. Berg is going to clear that away, but Estupinian, Buonote, and Facundo Buonote will pot his 7th goal of the season, beating Golini. And Brighton, with what I believe is their first shot of the match, has taken a 1-0 lead. Not sure if I can completely fault Golini there. A ton of traffic in front of him. Buonote to deliver that in. Berg, again, not really getting that clearance far away, but the return volley is going to be headed wide. And no harm, no foul, but we are going to head towards the final 5 minutes of this first half with Fulham trailing Brighton 1-0, and it looks like Fulham is basically picking up where they left off. Nice pick off there by Obert. Wilson with it, throwing it forward. He's got Kalajic. Kalajic in behind the defense, and then he skies it. Commentators want to know where that finish was, and I am right with them. I mean, this Brighton team is exhausted, and somehow they are still on the positive end of this result. We have managed to outshoot them 5-4 in the first half. We need a little bit more possession. I mean, this tactic is a bit more direct. It's not really possession football like our primary is more possession-driven, but an XG of 0.26 after 5 shots just ain't good enough. Yeah, give the fans their money's worth. We're going to try to pump them. We're going to try to pump everybody up, but frankly, this doesn't work all that well when the team is not really with us. So we have to build up. Hopefully, my assistant manager in the corner here, I'm hoping would make the team like us just a little bit better, but so far, no dice as the corner attempt is cleared away. Batty is going to bring it forward. He's got a man on him. He'll lay it for Iwobi. Across, looking back post. Kalajic into the middle. Wilson unable to get his head on it. Meslier will grab it out of the air and hang on. Nothing really going in the first 5 minutes of this second half. As it's knotted down, McGinn will carry it forward, looking for João Pedro. Aubert clearing it. João Pedro, though, tracking it down, will lose it on the heavy touch to Batty. Towards his center back, Aubert ahead for Berg. Berg looking to pivot it up. He's got Strand Larson. Iwobi, Strand Larson up for Wilson. And the counterattack is on. Fed on the right-hand side, Sapi. Sapi with a man on him. He'll play it into the middle. Strand Larson heads it on, and he will score. And the first goal of the Nick Bottom era in the Premier League has been scored by Strand Larson, his 5th of the year. They are checking to see if maybe he was offside, but he wasn't. They have awarded the goal, and with 40 minutes left to play, Fulham has drawn even at home over Brighton. It's 1-1. Strand Larson backtracking toward the far post, pops it over Mellier's outstretched arms for the goal. Let's see how close he was to being offside. Close-ish, but he was definitely played on by the left back there. So 1-1 is your score. Buonote to deliver another corner for them. Tengstedt unable to get that one on target as he pops it harmlessly into the crowd and over. Buonote is like on his last legs. He shouldn't be getting anything done for this team right now. Alex Iwobi moving the ball through the midfield will feed it up the right-hand side. Sapi with room ahead of him on a yellow card feeds Kalajic into the middle. Strand Larson, his shot is blocked, and Fulham is not going to get a clear shot on goal, but here comes Sapi again, dropping it to Ranocchia. Iwobi into the box. Iwobi shoots, and just over. Did Meslier get his hand on it? I think so. João Pedro is heading off of the pitch. We played 60 minutes. Berg with a corner delivery, trying to tie it up. Kalajic, oh, his header just goes wide. He could not get it inside that far post. He had Meslier beat, but unfortunately, it just was not to be. Gauto now to take a corner. Galini fists it away. McGinn. Zubeldia dropping it back for Wan-Bissaka. Up for Billy Gilmore. Gilmore with a man on him. Wan-Bissaka pushing it forward along the right wing side. Across the middle, Mayet with a sitter. He cannot make them pay. It's going to go out into the stands. And Fulham looking to make changes with a little over 20 minutes remaining in this match. And what are we going to do? Strand Larson is going to come off. We'll get Adade in to replace him. Strand Larson is just tired. So is Sasha Kalajic, but frankly don't really feel comfortable replacing both of my strikers right now. Alex Iwobi will make way for the youngster Attilo Fazio. Fazio is a pretty decent player in the midfield, has some nice value at 20 years old. Fulham got him from Cannes for 22.5 million euros. So far in his career, he's made 18 appearances, has not contributed with a goal. However, in Ligue 2 in France, in his last full season there, 33 matches, he scored 10. He's in fact scored in double digits twice in his career at a lower level at a young age. So hopefully he will be able to get things done. Sapi also looking a little tired. Mark Cross is going to come in the match. And Jaden Oosterwolde, who just was signed right before we came on, will make his debut for Fulham at left back. We are going to make 4 changes with 20 minutes left to go as we look to get some fresh legs out on the pitch. Hopefully we can end this match no worse than we are now. If we can find a way to come up with a second goal, that would be even better. Everton beat Man United 1-0, Newcastle 4, Tottenham 3. Final 5 minutes of this match as Oosterwolde looks to throw it in. He's got Adade moving back a little bit, giving some room to his offensive players. Aubert will drop it for Galini. Played back out for Bednarik. In the middle, Berg. Right wing feed. Cannot find cross. Mitoma is going to pick that off. And here comes Brighton the other way. Dieng for Mitoma along the far side. Cutting it back inside. Switching it over to Gauto. Ahead for Tengstedt. Looking for Wan-Bissaka. He's got him, but a man on him. Gauto through. Tengstedt. Mayet. He's offside. The flag has gone up. Mayet thought he scored his 16th, but the assistant referee has raised the flag. VAR is going to check, but they are going to rule that goal out for Brighton. The score is going to remain 1-1. I mean, there was no doubt about it. I could see it with my naked eye. I wasn't worried about that in the least bit. Fulham still out shooting Brighton 12-7. 3 minutes added on at the end, and the start of the Nick Bottom era comes with a single point. And that's okay. We are now 4 points clear of the drop zone. We stay in 17th place, but a good positive momentum in our first match in charge at Craven Cottage. So as we set off to dive into the January transfer window, what little time of it remains, the money we have to spend may be affected just a little bit. Sasha Kalajic apparently has a clause in his transfer from Wolves where we pay him an extra $6 million if he plays one more match. And the same thing with Attilo Fazio. We have to pay Khan an extra $5.75 million for one more appearance. I don't think we're going to be able to keep these two guys off of the pitch for the rest of the season, so we basically have to figure $12 million unavailable. That just means we're going to have approximately $20 million to do with as we please. We have a lot of holes to fill. I don't know if $20 million is going to do it. We may have to just settle for hanging on by the skin of our teeth. Well, transfer deadline day came and went, and not as much activity as we were hoping for as far as Fulham is concerned, and that really isn't our fault. Our primary target was a new goalkeeper, specifically Matej Kovar, a goalkeeper from Czechia, currently contracted at Brighton. We made a deal fairly early on in the day. We were the only team bidding for him. Ultimately, the paperwork did not get signed in time. He somehow didn't qualify for a work permit, which I don't understand because he's currently already playing in the United Kingdom in the Premier League. We were going to spend $15 million on him this year and $15 million over the next 3 years to bring him in as our primary backstop. And now we are left where we started. Now, that doesn't mean we did nothing. We did sell diminutive 20-year-old fullback Matthew Armstrong for $160,000 to Huddersfield. 23-year-old utility man Reed Baker Whiting was loaned out to Eintracht Frankfurt for 70% of his wages, plus a hefty monthly fee. So if I've done my math correctly, we're actually making a little bit of money on him. There is also an optional future fee that could come into play later on, worth about 6 million euros. Also going out was a 22-year-old center back, John Asenga. He's physical, but he didn't really factor into our future plans. We sent him out on loan to Magpies in Gibraltar. We did get a couple of deals over the line to bolster our midfield. Isaac Babadi will be joining us on loan from Leeds United. Standing at 5'10", he's got some pace. He can also serve as a winger if absolutely necessary. Has not made any appearances for Leeds this year, so hopefully we can get him a little bit of additional playing time. We only brought him in with the expectation of being a squad player, so he will rotate as needed. We did have to agree to a somewhat substantial optional future fee. Not sure we're going to exercise that. $23.5 million. It got the deal done for today. And we were able to secure the services of a 20-year-old Portuguese U19 international in Miguelito. Now, this is a guy I had my eye on when we were still at Qasim Pasha that I was trying to look to add to that squad. Think he's going to be pretty good as he continues to develop. He is a bit more offensively minded, has a little bit of speed, can move the ball pretty well, and I love his aggression. He really looks to get into those tough areas. So hopefully Miguelito will pay some dividends as potentially a replacement for Alex Iwobi down the road. Maybe even Harry Wilson. Speaking of Wilson, he is still on the squad at 31 years of age. We weren't able to find a suitor. Now, because he loves being here and he is our captain, we really couldn't offer him out without making him upset, and we can't afford to make anybody else upset on the team. Villarreal was very interested in making a move. However, their transfer window is already closed. Spain closes a couple of days earlier in January than the United Kingdom does. So unfortunately, they didn't want to make any kind of offer outside of their transfer window. So for now, Wilson remains a cottager. Not gonna lie, still fuming about that deal. Would have loved to improve our goalkeeper position for the remainder of the year, but can't worry about that now. We have top of the table Newcastle United coming into Craven College, and a couple of changes to be made. We're keeping the same formation. Galini is still going to be in goal. Batty will be at left back. Oosterwolde is coming in at center back with Bednarik. Cross is going to be making the start. Mark Cross as our right wing back. Berg is going to be at the base of the midfield behind Alex Iwobi and Isaac Babadi making his Cottagers debut. Wilson is going to slot in as our advanced playmaker with Strand Larsen and Kalajic as our strikers leading the attack in the final third. And oh yes, Miguelito is going to be on the bench. He could potentially make his Fulham debut as we are underway in London. It is Fulham and Newcastle United. Newcastle wearing green. That's just so weird. Currently sitting at the top of the table, and they're going to get the first highlight of the match. Is Barco set to deliver a corner? He's going to go low. Saikat hitting the crossbar. Galini dealing with Bruno Guimaraes and the second attempt, but it looks like Bruno was offside, so no harm, no foul, although 3 shots already. Sandro Tonali sending it in. Batty's going to deal with that. Tonali keeping it in along the far sideline. Scalvini across for Coyote. Coyote with a shot off of the post. It's going to be cleared, and Newcastle has been buzzing around the net, but they have yet to make us pay. So far, no shots on goal in the first 20 minutes for Fulham. Not exactly what we were looking for in this match, and not exactly the experience we had against Brighton just a couple of days ago. In fact, we played 30 minutes and we still finally get our first shot on goal, but I will take the fact that Newcastle has yet to score. Guimaraes carrying it up, finds Barco at the edge of the box, carrying it deep. Cross will sweep it away, but Barco's going to get it back. Cross intercepting. Barco getting the loose ball. Scamacca. Bruno Guimaraes finds Armando Broja with the volley into the back of the net. His 6th goal of the year, and much like against Brighton, Fulham finds ourselves down 1-0 early. A couple of good defensive plays by Cross, but unfortunately kind of left out on an island out there. Ball made its way in for Scamacca. Guimaraes throwing it on. It is going to clatter off of Oosterwolde and into the back of the net. Yeah, we need to do a little bit more. We are going to actually demand more from our team as a final third throw-in. Barco for Hall, looking for Guimaraes. Cross is going to knock that away. Alex Iwobi ahead looking for Strand Larsen. Tonali's going to step in front of that. Sikat back for Coyote. Coyote carrying it up the right side toward the byline, into the middle, cleared away Oosterwolde. Babaldi gets it as far as Bruno Guimaraes. Iwobi challenging him, but he's able to get the ball off to Coyote. Strand Larsen coming back. He's going to try to clear it. It's going to clatter off of Broda onto Galini, and he'll hang on and make a fairly easy save as we have 5 minutes added on at the end of this first half. Can Fulham do anything with it? Probably not. In fact, 5 minutes became like 7, and 1-0 remains your score after the first 45 minutes of play. Mark Cross entered the locker room picking up a knock in that first half, so Brandon Soppy is going to come in at right back. A couple of shots early on for Fulham, 10-3, and free kick, though. In a dangerous position, Tonali looking back post, finds Coyote, who finds the back of the net. His 2nd goal of the year, 2-0 Newcastle, showing why they are currently leading the Premier League here in the end of January, beginning of February. I forget what the actual date of this match is. I think we're beginning of February. My, how time flies when you're having fun. Wilson sending it in, looking top corner. Atabolu will dive for it. He does not need to make a stop, however. And that is going to clatter out of bounds. We're going to make a change or two. Harry Wilson not having the greatest game. We're going to try out Miguelito in that advanced position. Kalajic, He just cost us a ton of money. And we're going to pull him off for Daniel Juarez. If you're looking for Adebode, he picked up a knock in training and is not available for the matchday squad. Jan Bednarik also not playing very well. Jan Ober is going to come in as 3 additional changes are made in this second half. And Fulham hoping to find a way in. We're going to go a little bit more attacking on our mentality. Do we need to make additional tactical adjustments as well? Maybe go a little bit narrower as we try to focus our play through the middle because, we're in the middle. Maybe work the ball into the box a little bit more. We're still distributing quickly. That is not going to change. We're going to go with a bit of a higher line as well. A little bit more of a press on as we try to make things happen in the final 10 minutes of this match. But it looks like Newcastle is going to cruise to victory as nothing good so far has come. They're working it out of the back. Sandro Tonali throwing it forward. Has Seacat. Broya. Numbers in front of him. Conor Gallagher. Into the box, shoots, hits off the post. That's the 3rd time the woodwork has come into play for our defense. Can you imagine what the score would be if Newcastle was a little bit more accurate with their shooting? Adebolu descended forward, about a minute left in added time. Tonali dropping it back for Coyote. Up the sideline, Seacat. Intercepted by Oosterwolde, Miguelito, Babadi ahead, Strand Larson, he's behind the defense, he's in the box, he shoots, and he scores his 2nd goal under our leadership, his 6th of the year. Fulham claws one back. It's not going to be enough, I'm sure. There's like a minute left to play, but Strand Larson proving why he is one of the best players on the team as it currently stands. Newcastle 2, Fulham 1. At least we're showing some semblance of life. We may not have picked up the win. It's a match we were not expected to be victorious. It took 95 minutes, but Jurgen Strand Larson does get us on the scoreboard this afternoon. Sadly, though, it is still not enough. 12 matches remain in the Premier League season. Not a terrible start for us. We did rescue 1 point out of a possible 6 we could have lost. Anyway, we've got matches coming up in the month of March in our next episode. At home against Arsenal, then away at Stamford Bridge versus Chelsea, languishing mid-table this year. We're currently 4 points ahead of the drop in front of Leicester City and Burnley. Leicester does have a game in hand on us. We're going to keep our eye on that. And we will wrap up our first half season in the Premier League on Friday with the final 2 matches of the year. Away at Luton Town, currently sitting bottom of the table, and then at home against West Ham. It's a little bit of a London derby to wrap things up at the end of the week. And FYI, just for fun, I had my scouts check out our old team at Qasim Pasha, which we will see how they are doing as we progress forward into the remainder of the year, see if they can maintain the position and stature that we had built them to. Only Mustafa Demirci and Aureli Amenda even have the potential of being Premier League players. We'll keep our eye on them for the future. Thank you very much for watching. Please make sure you like, subscribe, do all the great things that we need for you to show your support to the channel, and we will see you tomorrow. Until then, bye-bye.